What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we traded Google stock. We made $573. As you can see, we bought 1,350 shares got filled at 140.86 at 10.50. We held this trade for 15 minutes and we sold 1,350 shares at 141.29. So I want to break that down for you. Let's take a look at the chart. All right, so I'm going to break this down on Fidelity Active Trader Pro, and then I'm going to break this down on Webull because I think it's easier. But we made this trade at 10:55. As you can see, the cursor right here on the top left showing the time. We're going to scroll to 10:55 where my entry was. So it's right in this general area. So we are going to zoom in on that. Let's go from here. And I want to show you why I took this trade. All right. So 10:55 is right here. This is the candle that I made the entry on. But before we get into that, I want to show you what I was looking at and why I made this trade. And I think you'll learn something if you stick around and watch this video. We had this sell-off coming here from 143 all the way down. And notice I didn't make my trade until 10:55, which is right here. And there's a reason I took this trade, because I was thinking inverse head and shoulders. So you have a shoulder right here. Let's draw another one just so you can see it. And then you have one right here. And what happened was, I'm going to zoom in even more now. The reason I took this trade is I was tempted to take the trade right here because I felt like it was oscillating. It wasn't moving more down. It was holding this low at 141. Sold down a little bit, but it was really holding 140.7 because if you look at the 2-day, 140.5 was the previous low of day. But I made my entry in this candle, and this was a beautiful trade because I'm looking at it's making a higher high. Google goes from 140.7 right here all the way up and then sells back down. But look at the low. It's not as low as this previous one. It's holding. So I'm noticing that at 10:52. I don't buy it. And I bought in this candle right here at 10:55, where I bought at 140.87. So when I was looking at this chart, I was watching it sell off, seeing if it was going to continue to make lower lows. Wasn't using RSI because even look at the RSI at my entry. At 10:55, the RSI was 50. So it really wasn't about that. It was about seeing this low and then seeing how it made a higher low. And then I made my entry. So now I'm in, and let's just look for 1106 because that's where my exit was, which is up here. So now we'll zoom into that part right here. And just focusing on that, this is a low, this is a higher low. Made my entry. Now where is my stop? My stop was this low right here. So when I made my entry right here at 140.86, my stop was going to be low of day, which was 140.72. So that is almost a 15 to 16 cent stop loss when I was going for 40 cents. So that's the trade plan. I get in at 140.87. I'm cutting my loss if it gets lower than here. If it breaks this low of day, which is 140.76 at the time. So that's an excellent entry. That's only 11 cents off. Quick, I'm risking, think about it. 1,300 shares, I'm risking like $150 to try to make 500. So in my eyes, that's a good trade. Now let's zoom in more. And I bought here. I watched it go all the way up here to about 140.13. Did I take profits? No, I did not take profits. I held. And I waited up until 11:06 to take the sell. And I sold because it hit my profit target. I actually tried to sell at 11.41, which was the high, but I didn't get it. I sold at 11.28 or whatever it was. And I made 42 cents on it. That 42 cents brought me to the $570 on the day. So one trade today, $500, daily goal met. but this is what I was looking for. I'm going to show you on Webull because I think it's just easier to show the charts, but that's what I was looking for. I waited for this deep sell-off, and the reason was because when you looked at the 2-day, you can see that Google had a previous low right here that went all the way down to 140.58. So I knew that I was looking for an entry, and this is where we bought. I was looking for an entry that was near that 140.58. And once I saw it go to 140.6, I knew that was close enough. That's only 20 cents from the low of previous day. And then once it made the higher high, which is right here, that was my entry. I love buying dips. I'm always a dip buyer. And the reason I like buying dips is because when you buy dips, you can compare it to the 2-day. You can see where the previous low was, and that's your stop loss. So then you know where you're going to cut the loss. Because if Google was to just keep selling off, then you need to sell out. Because if you're looking at the 5-day, it's making new lows. So that was my thought process making the trade. All right, so now I just want to show you on Webull because I think it's worth it to look at Webull and just see how it looks on this chart comparatively. I didn't use Webull to make this trade, but let's look at 1055 where we made the trade, which is right in this area. And when you zoom in here, it's just easier to show. You can see where you had that double bottom. I'll do a rectangle on it once I can get it up. There it is. So there's the low. And we were looking at that low, 140.65, like we were explaining. And we saw it blast up. I missed that trade. That's a trade I was going to take, and I didn't. But when I saw this, I didn't hesitate, and I purchased. And I purchased right here at 1055. But you can see the double low. So here's the low, and then here's the higher low. And I was honestly expecting a bigger move. I thought we were going to go from here and blast up to retest 140.47. And we did, but just not right away. It took a little bit to get there, as you can see, and became resistance, and then started selling off. So that's what I was looking at on Webull. So I just want to show you, this is the year to date. We're up 8,600 now on the year. Our biggest gain is still Tesla at 3,100, Google at 1,000, Apple at 1,000, totaling up to about 8,600 on the year. So I just want you to see that short term and long term, we have different types of gains here, but we're doing well, and we're just going to continue to try to add to it as the year goes on. But it's only mid-February, so I think we're off to a good start. Now let me show you a catch that happened, which I made a mistake, and this is good for you guys to learn, is I made a trading violation. So now I can only trade cash that's in the account, and I only get one trade pretty much per day, or up until I use that amount. So I made this trade the other day when I was trading Apple, and I was trading with cash and not margin in my IRA, and I made the mistake of just not realizing I was using cash. So right there, since I traded 14 times, I'm getting a restricted trade for 90 calendar days now. So now up until today's February 15th? Until May 15th or 16th now, I can only trade what's available. It's almost as if you had like a PDT rule of like less than 25,000. You can only trade just with that cash. So for this account, I'm going to be restricted to strictly like 1 or 2 trades that day, and then I'm going to have to wait until it settles. So it'll take probably every other day I can trade. So it's definitely going to slow me down a little bit. So I'm going to have to wait for really good entries and swing trade over a day or half a day to get these entries. But we'll see what we can do. But this is definitely something I wanted to bring up. You just got to be careful. Make sure you're trading with margin. And not meaning I'm borrowing money. It just means that I am able to buy and sell within the same day. And because the setting was on cash and I didn't realize it, I accidentally caused the good faith violation.